Here we are with Javier Fuentes-Leon from Peru, whose film Undertow is Peru's official Oscar entry into the Best Foreign Language Academy Award sweepstakes this year. I wish you luck, Javier.
Thank you so much.
Now, Undertow is a gorgeous film. It's beautifully shot in a village with the sea, a lot of underwater cinematography. How many movies have you made up to this point?
Well, only 2 shorts before this.
So this is your feature film.
Yeah.
And how difficult was it then? Does Peru have much of a film industry?
I mean, no, not in the way that you will think, or you will like know it here in the U.S. You know, we have a very, very, very small. I don't know if we could call it even an industry. You know, but there's a lot of passion. You know, and a lot of people, especially now. I mean, you know, when I decided to study film back in 93 or 94, it was really rare. Like, you know, there were like 4 crazy adventurers that would go and make films. You know, now it's happening more. There's a lot of TV made in Peru, so there's a lot of production happening, and that's where. So we have really great technicians or crews in every single area. We have really good actors too, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of financing to like create films. You know, Peru probably does between 5 and 10 films a year. You know, that are released theatrically. You know, so it's little, but it's not.
It's substantial in a way.
But yeah, because there are other countries that have even less. So
Undertow is a ghost story. A man dies and comes back and says, "I cannot go to the other side until you bury me correctly." So, first of all, are ghost stories popular? Do you believe in ghosts? Is it part of the culture? Or is this something that you're using for a bigger theme, which we'll get to next?
It's a little bit of both. You know, I'm not particularly a big fan of ghosts, and or am I like in spirits, or like it's not my thing. I think it's very present in Latin American literature and cinema. People that are dead that somehow appear, and they appear in a way that's not freaky or for fun, or they just appear and they sit down with you to have breakfast. So whether it is Doña Flora and her 2 husbands, or whether it is Pedro Páramo, which is a very well-known Latin American book from Juan Rulfo, which is a very well-known Latin American writer, whether it's even Garcia Marquez, all of them have brought into their so it's into their work, ghosts or dead people that show up, presence, so it's not. It is kind of common, and also in Catholicism, and in mixed with, beliefs from each area that come from before the Catholic Church. There's this mix of beliefs that saints appear, and so it's not that weird.
Right.
It might be more strange here, but in the U.S. So it's a mix of, it's present in the culture that I come from. It's not particularly something that I'm constantly believing in or that I'm thinking about, but it helped me tell the story that I wanted to tell.
Which is about a married man whose wife is about to give birth to a child,
yes.
Their first child,
mm-hmm.
and at the same time, the man who has died, who is reaching out to him, is his boyfriend.
Yeah.
So this is a hidden gay relationship.
Exactly.
So you are. So he's presented with a dilemma. If I acknowledge that I have to go and find my lover's body and bury him properly, I have to tell my wife?
Because the proper burial is done in front of everybody, and it's a ceremony that is done in front of the town. So, and only the closest male to the deceased is the one who leads the ceremony. So if he would do it, he would be basically acknowledging that there was a really strong connection here, and it will be the ruin of his marriage and his position in town, because he's actually kind of like a leader in the town. And if he doesn't do it, he's sentencing his lover to eternal limbo.
Not being able to go to heaven.
Yeah.
So,
or rest, in whatever way you want to think about it.
Okay. So does this mean then that generally, because when I think of South America and I think of Brazil maybe, or Argentina, I think of a very sort of vibrant gay culture that's sort of accepted into the mainstream culture. Is Peru not like that about gays today? Is there much sort of hostility or discrimination?
It's complicated to talk about it. I mean, it is not as open as it would be in maybe Sao Paulo or Buenos Aires. I still wouldn't say that Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo are that open anyway. You know, there are
pockets.
But there are pockets. You know, Argentina just in this year approved gay marriage. You know, but there was a lot of opposition to that. Fortunately, not enough to stop it. You know, so there's definitely countries in South America that are more progressive than others. Peru is somewhere in the middle. You know, it's not uber progressive, it's not uber conservative in that sense.
Is Peru a democracy, or is
it's a democracy? Yeah, it's a democracy, and it's actually doing better now economically than it's been doing in a long time. And you know, I don't live in Peru, but when I go back, I feel there's some vibrant feeling that things are evolving, hopefully, you know, for everybody and not just for the upper class, you know, but
and where do you live?
I live in LA.
Okay.
You know, but I'm from Lima, which is the capital city in Peru. So unfortunately, yeah, there's still gay people that have to hide. There's still people that get discriminated or, you know, made fun of, you know, but I don't see, and it's maybe because it's not being talked about it openly, but yet, as it should be. But in the U.S., there's an active group that is against homosexuality, you know, and they're very vocal. They finance anything they can in order to stop it.
Like the Mormon Church with the California
or,
gay marriage law.
You know, I mean, there are foundations that are for the protection of marriage, apparently, you know, and they're openly against, you know, any homosexual, development of rights. Whereas in Peru, that's I don't see that. You know, maybe if there will be a movement pro-gay, there will be a movement anti-gay that will show up. You know, but so it's not. It's a topic that is there, but it's not in the minds of everybody so constant. You know, and people, I think that, you know, they do whatever they need to do. I mean, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I set the movie in a rural area. You know. I think we're more obsessed with labels and being part of something in urban areas, whereas in rural areas and a lot of areas in Peru, homosexual relationships happen.
They're just never talked about.
They're not talked about, and people are not they're not immediately saying, well, therefore I am gay, and therefore I need to behave, or I like this, or I dress this way, or this is the music I hear. You know, they basically have sexual acts that are, you know, with men, or fall in love with them and then fall out of them, but they get married and have kids because that's what you should do. You know, so it's a little bit more hidden and fluid. Yeah.
Okay. Well, was it tough to get, I understand your lead actor who plays the dead gay guy, Carlos?
Manolo Cardona.
Manolo Cardona is one of the most popular stars in Peru.
He's actually from Colombia. He's one of the most popular stars in Colombia and in Latin America in general. Yeah.
Was it hard for him to be persuaded to take this part, or did he say, "Great, I've been wanting to play a gay all my life"?
Well, I mean, it wasn't hard. You know, I met him. I told him the story. He really liked it. He said, "Let me read the screenplay." He did. He said, "I want to be part of this." You know, I just wanted to make sure that. But his only condition was, let's make sure that the love story between the two men comes across. That it's not just a story about sex or passionate, you know, like a quick affair. You know, let's make sure that we portray a love story here. That was his condition. You know, a lot of people told him not to take this part, but you know, he wants to be a good actor. I mean, he's a good actor, and he wants to have a good actor's career, you know, not just be a pretty face or a macho guy, you know. So it was a nice risk that he took, but I mean, it was a risk that he wanted to take, and I think he did a good job. You know?
Well, I'm thinking Rodrigo Santoro from Brazil has played gays often, you know, and has a Hollywood career on top of it.
Exactly.
Whatever.